Oh man, welcome back to Keeping It Comic, and today we are diving back into the Fantastic Four, and all I have to say is Doctor Doom has rigged the game. So just so you guys know, I am going to try to condense this because there is a lot of information in this. So look, as you guys know, the Fantastic Four have been split up into different parts of time, and Sue is in the future. I mean, way into the future. And she's been staying invisible to prevent herself from burning up. Now, she knows she can't stay invisible forever. I mean, her powers just won't last that long. So she finds a cave and decides, okay, I can't see, it's too dark, so I will bend light to be able to see. And that works out for her. And what does she find? She finds water. I mean, it's not enough to survive, but it's something for now. And of course, Sue being Sue, she decides to bend the light into a microscope. She says, I move them until things snap into focus and discover I'm not alone. This is the last life on Earth. And of course, Sue being Sue is like, I leave the water alone. It feels wrong to drink it. The bacteria made it this far, and I won't be the one that kills them. It wouldn't change much anyway. Unless I can think of something soon, the rest of my life can be measured in hours. Meanwhile, Reed's already on the case. He's like, Sue should be here by now. But is it? The question before me is, why? My first answer? The obvious one. Sue Storm isn't here because Sue Storm is dead. I dismiss it. It is a solution that offers no way forward, a logical dead end. What are the other possibilities? Why hasn't she found us? Because she can't. She can't locate the Forever Stone. The stone itself is functionally eternal, in Earth terms. But the tracker inside it? It's conceivable. It could fail. And if it had, it's a hypothesis, a possibility. It is, as Ben would say, the thinnest shred of hope. And so, there is something else I can do, even if it takes me the rest of my life. So what does Reed Richard do? He builds a hut. He makes a machine that should not exist yet, which is why it's out of sight, out of mind. He then creates the raw material he needs, and then strategically places it underground. And you will see why later on. But at the same time that all this is going on, Sue's like Reed will be expecting you. So when you don't show up, he's going to try to help you get there. Right. You don't marry someone without knowing how they think Sue's in. So what's he doing? How does Reed Richards help someone stranded, untold billions of years in the future? And she envisions Reed and says, it's simple, darling. You move heaven and earth. And with that said, what does she do next? She takes off into the air. She uses the little reserve of power she has and starts to bend light. And what does she see? 40 vertical miles of rock, all of the Earth's crust, invisible. And why is that? Because far beneath the surface lie artificial diamonds, hidden just above the mantle, deep within geologically stable areas of Earth's crust. They would last. They wouldn't melt. Some would move, but with enough redundancy, the formation would still be recoverable. He would have had to extend himself deeper than any mine, any borehole, deeper than any living being has ever been, for every single diamond. It would have been a lifetime of work, an incredible labor of love in whatever era he was trapped in. But he did it. He ensured, no matter where I was in the future, that I'd always be able to find my way back home. And this is crazy when you think about it because they're basically implying Reed spent his whole life doing this. The Reed Richards in that timeline is now officially dead. But thankfully, she finds this rock in which, if you remember, he's already put a timestamp. So now that she has this information and she has the time sled, she puts her arm in and bam, this thing turns into a Doom bug looking machine. She straps in and gets out of there. I mean, even Reed is like, Sue, but I've only just formed my plan. I haven't yet instantiated it. After Sue gets Reed, they go and get the rest of the Fantastic Four. And just like that, we're right back at the beginning of issue 1, where Doctor Doom is sending the Fantastic Four, all in different eras of time, But the difference now is, in an instant, someone says, "Not bad, Vic." And what do we see? The Fantastic Four is back that quick. And Sue's like, "But we can do better than that." And even Doom's like, "No, impossible." And all of them are trying to attack Doom. And he's like, "Die, damn you." And he is getting clobbered. But needless to say, as this attack is going on, he says, "But how? That time sled, I've never seen it." And Reed responds, "I hid it in a pocket of time, Victor, for such an eventuality. And I ensured that no matter which era we were lost in, we could always summon it, always find our way home." And Doom responds, "Richards, you never could resist an opportunity to show off. Every time, Richards, you tell me exactly what you did. You're so consistent, so eager to ensure everyone knows how desperately clever you are." Reed says, "Doom, what have you?" And Doom interrupts, "Calm yourself, Doctor. I've explained this to you before, so many times, so I know what you need to hear. Your Human Torch calls them save states. Sorcerer Supreme time magic, Richards, enhanced by my own scientific genius. It really is remarkable. I reset the entire universe to an earlier moment, but only Doom keeps his memories. And then I prevent you from seceding. I have such a save state set for before you attacked me." Ben says, "But if that's true, then you're using us against ourselves?" And Reed responds, "Great Scott, we defeat you, discover some weakness, some flaw in your plan, and you reset time to ensure those efforts fail. Every move we make tells you precisely how to defeat us next." And Doom says, "Yes, Richards. Who else could bend the shape of time itself to ensure he is never defeated again? Who else can conceive of a way to turn his worst enemies into his greatest strengths? Who else but Doom?" Sue's like, "My force fields will protect us from..." And Doom says, "No, Susan, they won't. They never have." And as Doom casts a spell to send them back in time again, something changes this time. Johnny looks at Sue, then looks at the time sled. Sue catches on, and before disappearing, she jumps into the time sled and activates it. Now, what she did was, she sent it back in time to the Fantastic Four, to a time right before the events of issue number 1. So now you have everyone like, why is the time sled here? And why is it damaged? So Sue's looking it over and she's like, "It's damaged, sure, but some of it at least intentional. It almost looks like," and Alicia says, "It is, Sue. This is Braille. And you wrote it. It says you push these indentations into the vehicle yourself, all at once. It was the last thing you did. You were dying. My God, everyone was dying." So after this message is read to everyone, Franklin's like, "So, I mean, I hate to say it, but if Doom's resetting time every time you guys beat him, then we're pooched, right?" And I'm just taking it as this Franklin doesn't have his powers. But anyway, Ben's like, "No wonder we kept losing to him. So, anyone got any bright ideas?" Alicia says, "I have one. Fight fire with fire." And Johnny says, "Yes, good thinking, Alicia. Let's do that. Flame on." And this fool creates a flaming version of himself with the same horrible mustache. I hate that thing. But anyway, she's like, "No, Johnny. I just meant that if Doom's messing with time, then we could beat him by using time travel too. You know, go back to prevent him from ever coming up with the save states in the first place or whatever." And Reed says, "It's no good. I'll confirm elsewhere, but the sled's time circuits aren't latching on to anything. I believe Victor has magically blocked all time travel, likely, immediately after the universe was reset." So after Reed stretches his eyeballs out and looks sick, he says, "The data does in fact suggest a single point of origin for the time change." And this brings the Fantastic Four to Antarctica, where we see our man Johnny stripping. And he says he's doing this for the Arctic researchers. But anyway, Reed's like, "The coordinates suggest Doom must have a facility a dozen meters below this location inside the ice. And our naked Johnny says, "Flame on." And as he flies up and melts the ice, that researcher's looking at him. And I know she's saying, "He's hot." You see what I did there? Huh? Anyway, as they get to the bottom, they encounter a machine in which Ben says, "I think maybe we found the source of all our troubles, gang." And they do what they do best. They get to destroying. And they destroy this machine. But then Sue says, "So question, the debris, why is it moving?" And Ben says, "Holy Hana, it's rebuilding itself." Reed says, "But how? It shouldn't be possible unless..." And then we hear a voice. "Unless it was under the enchanted protection of the Sorcerer Supreme." Yes, as you can see, Richards, Doom has thought of everything. And with this, I really don't think you guys understand how deep this goes. I mean, Doom has been controlling everything. And let me just put this into perspective for you. If you've been keeping up with the Fantastic Four, the 2022 run by Ryan North, that was affected by Doom. See, if you remember issue 28, Reed and Sue went to see Black Knight in the hopes of finding a type of weapon that can stop Doom. And that led them to going back into the past, inhabiting some bodies so that way they wouldn't be discovered. And at the end of the day, finding a sword called the Doom Blade, in which then the Black Knight attacks them. Come to find out, it was never the Black Knight. It was Dr. Doom all along. And he destroyed this blade. But I know you're probably wondering, what does any of this have to do with this time machine? Well, you see, when Reed did that sneak attack with his feet, he really did choke Dr. Doom. But Doom reset time. And this time he grabbed Reed's feet and captured them, in which, in return, made Reed Richards perform his first magical spell and teleport them into the first issue of One World Under Doom. But that's not all that's been affected. If you remember One World Under Doom, issue 3, you know, when the Avengers and everybody broke into, Latveria and they knocked, supposedly, and broke down the walls, and Doom comes and they have this big oversized brawl. Well, guess what? Doom actually died in that battle. But once again, he reversed time, so that way he would survive. At this point, Dr. Doom is a walking game shark. But anyway, back to the story, because Sue is like, "Ben and I are taking Doom. You two find a way to make the machine stay dead." And Doom says, "You four have never defeated me, even at full strength. And yet you expect half strength to work against Emperor Doom? Ludicrous. But tell me this, how did you discover this facility?" At the same time, Johnny's like, "Okay, a time engine's still an engine, right? There must be something we can do to jam it." And Reed says, "Perhaps with any luck, I should be able to..." "Oh no, Johnny, I don't think we can destroy this machine." And Doom says, "Now you've seen Doom's masterstroke. My engine stands magically bound to time itself. Destroying it would mean destroying the space-time continuum across the entire solar system." And as Doom is giving this beating to Ben, he goes, "I reset the entire universe to an earlier moment, but only Doom keeps his memories. I learn, I adapt, and you all stay the same." And just then, Johnny has an idea. And for once, he figured out a way to outsmart Dr. Doom. But if he shares it, Doom will know it too, and then prevent it from working. And so he writes it. He says, "Sue, I'm in the Apollo era over here." But he doesn't just write it, he writes it in hydrogen flames. See, the Apollo era at NASA, hydrogen burns largely in infrared spectrum, invisible to the human eye, undetectable in daylight. It is naturally occurring invisible fire. If NASA suspected a hydrogen fire, workers detected it by waving straw brooms around tanks. When the brooms spontaneously burst into flames, they found their leak, which also means it's a way for Johnny to communicate without letting it slip out that he's saying anything. Sue, hearing Johnny's code phrase, bends his fire's light out of the invisible spectrum and into their eyes only. And Mr. Fantastic sees what he needs to do. Rewire the machine so Doom's restores become saves. And Ree says, "Go, Johnny. Hit him with everything you got now. Johnny responds, you got it, mister. Nova Flame. And Doom is on fire, but he's like, such insolence. You will not strike Doom again. And Ben's like, oh yeah? You want to bet, Doomy? Bam! Knocks this man's mask off. Doom says, you dare knock my mask from my face? You intolerable fools. This will not stand, and you will now be dearly punished for it. And he resets time again. You want to bet, Doomy? And he's punched in the face again. And he resets time again. He says, what is happening here? And he's punched in the face again, and again, and again. See, Doom's save states, all of them are gone. All replaced by this one instant. The hit, an indignity that will not be tolerated. Doom, of course, realizes how the Fantastic Four have turned his own machine against him. He knows precisely how he has been defeated. But he also knows this defeat will only endure if he permits it to. He still has that fraction of a second before the hit to find another way. One fraction of a second at a time, Doom searches for it. He is hit over and over and over again for hours, days, months. A timeless era passes, and another, and yet he refuses to give up. Hit after hit after hit. Why should he? For Victor Von Doom has all the time in the world, until suddenly he doesn't. When his time engine finally burns itself out through overuse. Ben's like, what's the matter, Doomy? You need a minute? Doom says, my time engine destroyed. Reed says, and when it burned out, I ensured it altered local space-time too. So this trick won't work again, Victor. Sue says, you don't get to cheat anymore. You don't get to win every single battle. We won't be living under your armored thumb any longer. Doom says, no matter. This time engine was a distraction, unnecessary. Johnny says, sure thing, Emperor. Just keep telling yourself that. And Doom says, I shall. Goodbye, Fantastic Four. And you, Jonathan, you keep telling yourself that Doom will not one day revenge himself upon you. Nor false hope is the cruelest hope of all, you ridiculous man. And oh man, I know Doom is supposed to be this smart, intelligent guy, but this man is really his worst enemy. So the Fantastic Four was defeated over and over because Reed Richards just can't shut up. And Doom was defeated because of his ego and not being able to shut up. It is ridiculous how much alike they are with how stupid they are with telling their next move. But with the time engine now destroyed, that means Doom is not going to be winning very much longer. There's no do-overs. Everything we've been seeing going Doom's way is slowly going to be running out. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you've been rocking with these breakdowns, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hype this video using YouTube's new hype feature. It helps push our content to more comic fans just like you. And as always, thanks for kicking it with Keeping It Comic. I'll catch y'all on the next one.